Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm making a video that I feel like is maybe a little bit niche, but also maybe not, because I've actually seen at least 2 other people that I follow post videos similar to this over the last couple of months. And I know that ideas and downloads are not, entirely personal. I feel like it's like a collective consciousness thing, and a lot of us receive, the same ideas around the same time. And then it's just kind of like up to whoever decides to actually do something with it and put it out into the universe or share it with other people. And this has been a big part of my life for the last, I don't even know, 7 or 8 years, which is really crazy. And yeah, I don't know. It feels significant, I guess, also that I'm making this video on a full moon in Capricorn. And last night I was really reflecting on just certain cycles that I've closed out and, environments that I've really left and distanced myself from, and just things that used to resonate that don't resonate anymore. And I feel like this is kind of signifies to me like closing a chapter, I guess, of my life that just doesn't feel resonant anymore, but did for a very long time. And that is kind of just this idea of, spirituality kind of needing to look a certain kind of way or be a certain kind of way, or certain things that I resonated with, or certain things that I feel like I was programmed with, I suppose, by people around me, and just also by what I was consuming, that just don't resonate with me at all. And it's been a really long journey. I kind of want to make this video as brief as possible and not get super into detail about, I just feel like I can talk so much. I'm going to try to be pretty precise with this, but share a little bit of my past experience and kind of my journey that's led me to where I am now. And really my main intention with this video is to just help free anybody else from any shackles, any potential shackles, or any ideas of you needing to be a certain kind of way, or any just basically programming, I suppose, that makes you feel like you're not good enough, or you're doing things in a wrong way. I have always been really, really called to, unseen things and more spiritual things. I think even from a very young age, I was always into more mystical things, and I was always drawn to more esoteric or alternative. I don't even know the right terminology. I also don't want to say something that offends anybody. But I'm just really trying to speak openly about my own personal experiences. And I feel like if I had seen a video like this when I was kind of in the thick of my spiritual awakening, it would have literally changed the trajectory of my life. I'm not kidding. This shit plagued me for a really, really, really long time. And I feel like just over the last, I don't know, recent, couple of years, I really feel like it's been a continual journey of just freeing myself. And I finally feel like I feel very, very secure within myself now. And I feel very confident and just, very content with the way that I'm living my life and the views that I carry. And, it's been a long ways to get to this point. So anyways, I've always kind of been called to, more spiritual seeming things. I've always been really into astrology, tarot cards, stuff like that, from a very young, as a young teenager and stuff like that. And then I really feel like I went through my spiritual awakening, when I started dating this ex of mine when I was 19 years old, and he was a very spiritual person. I'd already kind of had these ideals, and these viewpoints, but it feels during that period of my life, it felt like I got hit by a truck with all of these realizations, all of these new viewpoints on life. And what the difference was is prior, I thought, oh, this stuff sounds really nice. This stuff I feel like resonates, but I hadn't felt it and I hadn't experienced it. And it took, just this whole journey, and really, I think meeting this person expedited this spiritual awakening for me. And there was also some psychedelics involved that I feel like were really helpful tools in helping me to, reach like different levels of consciousness, or just different downloads, or different, you know, awarenesses about myself and about the universe, and also a lot of times sober, and a lot of nights journaling, and just a lot of being exposed to different things and different ways of thinking. But I feel like it kind of reached a point where it really, like, I felt it in my body, and I knew all of these things to be true, and it, you know, I went through this really big awakening where I started to view, you know, life very differently, people very differently, and all in like a positive way, I would say. It was like these realizations of like, wow, we truly are all love, and we truly are all like, you know, the same underneath it all. And, you know, I just felt this all so deeply, and it was this, you know, this really beautiful personal journey. But I also feel like because of this person in my life, my ex, he, you know, like, and I don't want to get into too much detail, but he just is somebody that had a very, very large, like, spiritual ego, and actually is like such an abuser, and just, you know, really terrible person. And I don't say that lightly, but this person was just really, like, not only physically abusive towards me, which is something I've really had to like come to terms with over the last couple of years, but also just like so emotionally abusive, and just really like used this dynamic that we had in our relationship to lift himself up and kind of become this godlike figure. And he was somebody that I looked up to and that I aspired to be like, and he really played into that and took advantage of that. And I equate him to kind of like Kanye, like somebody that just literally thinks that he is a god. And I personally believe, you know, we are all gods of our own lives and whatever. But this person, like, just, you know, really used this information and this awareness that he had, to just make me feel really small, and to make himself feel really big, and to make me feel really shameful about a lot of ways that I was just like living my life, and a lot of, you know, views I had, or, you know, things that I was into. Just, you know, the way that I lived my life was never ever good enough. And I know this is not everybody's experience. This is a very specific experience that I had, but it just, you know, it took a long time for me to like free myself of the shackles of this person. And I feel like at that time I was consuming a lot of like spiritual Twitter, and just like reading a lot of books and listening to a lot of things that just made me kind of feel like I had to be this like purest version of myself. And I mean that like, you know, like embracing celibacy and not drinking. And I just feel like I came to all of these, you know, like conclusions of like what was right and what was wrong. And I'm really trying to say this is not everybody's experience. I'm not trying to shame spirituality. This has nothing to do with spirituality. This has to do with my own experiences and distortions, and people who unfortunately like are really narcissistic and awful, kind of using this as a vessel to, you know, just have this really unhealthy dynamic with me. And so, yeah, I think spirituality is amazing, and I think it's so beautiful. I think that I just got in this really weird space, and you know what? I like really equate it to, like religious programming. And it's just so wild, because I just feel like spirituality, you know, oh my God, there's just so many things I could say about this topic. I think I just really got in this headspace where I felt like my life had to look a certain kind of way, and I needed to be doing all these things, and I felt like I could only eat super duper healthy, especially like on a full moon and a new moon, and like that, you know, I needed to be embracing celibacy, and I needed to be, you know, dressing a certain kind of way. And it's like certain things like genuinely did resonate. I feel like I've always been true to myself, and I've just gone through a lot of different eras where different things made sense for me. But I feel like now I'm kind of at this point where I've just really come to realize that like spirituality does not have to look any certain kind of way, and it does not, like, there's no rules to it. There's no certain way of being of how you have to dress or how you have to present yourself, like, and it's nothing that you have to prove to anybody else. It's nothing that like you know, you have to get people to see or validate. It's such a personal, you know, experience with yourself and with the universe or with your breath or just with, you know, with anything unseen. And I really feel like the whole point of spirituality is like to, you know, just return to like these ultimate truths. And I feel like the ultimate truths are that we are all the same and we are all love, and like to just treat each other with kindness and to like embrace your human experience. And I really feel like for me, it just comes down to this awareness of, okay, there is more than what meets the eye in this experience. There's more to me than just this human body and just my ego, and, you know, and I just feel a deeper connection to the unseen. But it's just like, I don't know, it's been such a long journey for me to get to the point where I feel secure in myself, and I feel secure in just the way that I express myself and the way that I dress and the things that I'm interested in. I fucking love Halloween. I love scary movies. I love spooky things, okay? I love to explore my sexuality, okay? I fucking love to go to like punk shows, and I like to drink sometimes, and I like to eat unhealthy sometimes. I'm a really big foodie, and I just feel like, I don't know if this is like a common experience kind of in the spiritual community where it feels really judgy, and it feels like if you're not presenting yourself in this very like purest way, if I'm not wearing flowy white clothes and listening to like fucking, I don't know, only music that has really positive messages. And I do think that there's something to be said about like, yes, being careful about what you consume and being conscious about what you consume, especially if you feel like you're in a sensitive state. Probably not the best to listen to really fucking sad, depressing music, right? So it's like, be aware and be rational and pay attention to how you're feeling. And yes, things are like deep, but also it's just like, I so believe that we are here to experience this human experience and embrace it. And that as human beings, it is just like in our nature that we are not going to be perfect all the time. And also, I don't even know what like perfect would look like. And I just think that like, I was just having this conversation with my friend the other day where she was telling me like, you know, when she's doing all the things right, when she's not drinking, when she's eating super healthy, when she's just like super, you know, locked in on like her spiritual stuff, like she's like, why am I actually happier when I'm going out with the girls every once in a while and drinking and like being a hot girl? And I'm like, because we're supposed to do that. And I really, truly, personally believe that like life is all about balance. And I really believe in like the 80-20 rule and just checking in with yourself and seeing where you're at. But like, I personally like, you know, dabbling in all areas of the human experience. And I know that it's like, obviously we want to be doing the things that make us feel good as often as possible, right? But I just think that it's also okay to explore, and you don't have to be perfect all the time. And your life doesn't have to look like this pristine way of being all the time. And I think it's actually so important to just accept your humanness and accept who you are and all aspects of yourself. And I think that whatever it is that you're interested in, whatever it is that you feel called to, whatever, you know, the way that you express yourself is so specific and so intentional. And it's really like, to complete this experience on earth, we all have so much diversity that we bring to the table, and that's really what makes the experience fun. And I think that we're able to learn from each other and inspire each other, and it's just a really beautiful part of being human, and that there's just not one way to do it, and nobody should ever make you feel less than or make you feel like you aren't spiritual because you don't present in the way that they present. You don't have to go to retreats. You don't have to do yoga. You don't have to be into tarot cards. You don't have to be into crystals. You don't have to wear flowy white clothes. You don't have to like do anything. Spirituality is not about anything external, and those things actually don't even have anything to do with spirituality. They are like, I feel like, tools and vessels to be able to connect with your higher self or the universe, or, you know, I think that they're really, really amazing, and I am into a lot of those things just naturally, but I'm just saying this to say that you don't have to be, and it's okay if that stuff doesn't resonate, because you don't actually need anything outside of yourself. It truly just is about you and your beliefs and your connection to yourself or something larger than yourself. And I really feel like, you know, there's just no rules. And if there were rules, I feel like it would be to just be kind and accepting and open-minded. And I don't know why I just found myself in this weird pocket of like judgment. And like I said, it felt like religious programming, and I still sometimes catch myself like feeling bad for like watching reality TV, or feeling shameful for like, you know, I don't know, not living my life in certain ways that I feel like my brain was programmed, like, this is how you're supposed to do it, you know? And so it's just been really a journey of like freeing myself, and I still feel so connected to my own, you know, what spirituality is to me and to myself, and I carry these beliefs, but really, like, I dress however it is that I want to dress, and like, I love talking about, you know, movies and music and just, you know, like the human experience. Okay, I feel like for so long too, it's like I felt shame about being human, and I just like didn't want to be here anymore, and I just like would just spend time in my room all the time, meditating, doing yoga all the time, and I just was like, this world is full of so much ego, and it's just like so depressing. And while there is a lot of separation, and you know, there's a lot of chaos, and there's a lot of devastation and violence and horror like in this human experience, there's also so much beauty and joy and fun, and I just feel like we're here for a reason, and it's temporary, so you might as well just like live it up as much as you can and really just embrace it. And like, yes, see outside of things, know that there's more than just your job and more than just these human responsibilities that we have to tend to, and that there's a whole lot more to you than just your physical vessel, okay? And your appearance and your ego and your personality. There are deeper aspects of yourself and other people. But like, I don't know, also enjoy the human experience and don't feel bad about it. I just feel like, I don't know, this person was just so hard on me, and so I've really tried to make it like a point in my life. It's FedEx delivery right in front of me. I really tried to make it a point in my life to not push my ideals down anybody's throat, and so I hope you guys know that I'm not doing that. I really just want you to trust your own vision and trust whatever it is that you feel to be true and whatever resonates with you. I think that it's really, really, really important to do that, to not just feel, you know, like influenced by outside voices and opinions. It's all about kind of like your own personal journey. But also, like, I don't know, I feel like just this person was so hard on me, and it's like, I know that he wanted me to be the best version of myself, but also I actually don't even think he wanted that. I actually think he just wanted to torture me. I think I've been in situations where there's been people that I love, that I know are kind of living their life in a way, or carrying certain viewpoints that I know just aren't like helpful or loving. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like I've tried to give gentle nudges to people in the past and just maybe offer new perspectives, or, you know, try to hold them accountable to like a different way of living, but I never wanted it to feel like how it felt with my ex-partner to me. Just like, it felt like I was really forced into this new way of being, and that it was just so heavily forced upon me so quickly, and that I just changed so many aspects of myself, and it was just like, the way that you were living your life is wrong, and you need to be like this, and you need to be like this, and I feel like I made those changes, and like, yes, some of them were like healthier, but I also just feel like the mindset I was carrying wasn't healthy. Like, yes, it's amazing to eat healthier, yes, it's amazing to maybe take breaks from drinking or be aware of, you know, what you're consuming, but it shouldn't feel like this shameful, heavy, intense thing where it's like you are so wrong and, you know, you have to do this to be right. Like, it should not feel like that. Like, obviously pay attention to how you're feeling and what's resonating, and if something is like bringing you down or like just doesn't feel like good energy, then yeah, maybe take a little break from it, but it doesn't have to be this super intense thing. So I feel like in my life, when I've like come across people where it's like, I maybe want to offer this new perspective, or, you know, but I also have to realize we're all on our own journeys, and it's just, yeah, I don't know, it's a crazy thing. I just know that I've definitely tried to like give gentle nudges to people, and I just really hope that I've never come across in a way that's like condescending or judgmental, because girl, I am so imperfect, and I also hope that you guys know when I'm making these videos, I'm hoping that they are helpful, and like it really, it's not trying to come from a place of like, oh, I'm so wise and I know all the answers, like, at all. These are just things that I'm in the process of learning myself, and I just like to be able to talk openly about, and I feel like it just feels nice to know that like we're not alone in things, and it's more so me just trying to share as I'm figuring things out. Or maybe I feel like I've kind of come over the hump and like learned a lesson, so I want to share what I've learned, but it's never coming from a place of like holier than thou, or like I know what I'm doing, because I don't. Like, I really am like very much so figuring things out in my life, and I never want things to come across like I know exactly what I'm doing and blah blah blah. Like, I really don't. There's some things that I feel confident in, or that I feel like I've grown a lot in, and I feel really grateful for that, and really my intention is just to try to help and alleviate any potential suffering, or just help, you know, free people to live a happy life and to feel good about themselves. So I never want it to come across in any kind of a condescending way. I hate that energy so much, and I feel like that happens so much in the spiritual community. And I just feel like what's really important is just being a good person and being kind and being empathetic and compassionate and looking out for each other and helping each other out, and, you know, seeing each other as God and drag, and just knowing that we are all equal and I'm no better or no worse than anybody else, and just trying to be like a good freaking neighbor, you know? And it's like, yeah, no matter what, I will always carry my own spiritual beliefs, and sometimes they're challenged, and sometimes, you know, they may shift or change, but that's all personal to me. And it's just like, I don't know, I feel like anything that you do is spiritual, because I feel like inherently we are just spiritual beings, and there's just no one way that things have to look. And it's okay for you to watch reality TV. It's okay for you to eat junk food every once in a while. It's okay for you to like fuck up or not be perfect. And I just feel like anything we do is inherently spiritual, because we are spiritual beings. And yeah, so it's like, no matter what, that connection is never going to be severed, you know? Like, you will always be connected to spirit, and you will always be watched after and guided and loved and supported. And there's just so much more to this experience than what meets the eye. And again, this is all my opinions, but these are things that I know to be true for myself, and I've been shown time and time again, and actually, you know, beliefs that really, really bring me solace. But yeah, just never fear that like you are disconnected from spirit. Like, you know, you never are. And you always have your intuition, and you always have, you know, deep stillness within you that you can connect to at any time when things feel overwhelming. And yeah, there's just no one way, you guys. There's no one way. So I wanted to make this video. I think I got most of my points across. Just really wanted to drive in the point that like you are allowed to be yourself, and you're allowed to be human, and you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to be any kind of way to be spiritual, and you don't have anything to prove to anybody. And yeah, I don't know, I just feel like my experiences have actually like really turned me off from like any kind of like spiritual community. And I know that there's a lot of really beautiful spiritual communities out there, so I've tried to be more open-minded about this. I think that just my personal experience is a lot of times spiritual people are more insufferable to be around. And, you know, I just want to be able to feel comfortable to be myself and to be into the things that I'm into. And sometimes, you know, I've met people that are not spiritual whatsoever, and they feel more loving and more accepting than, you know, spiritual people. So if you've had any bad experiences, you're not alone. But obviously I don't judge. It's not like a blanket statement. That'd be going against everything that I believe in, to just, you know, judge one thing off of my own personal experiences that I've had. So this is nothing against spiritual community. I just think that, yeah, I just think that I'm really happy to be where I am now, and to feel confident in myself and my beliefs, and, yeah, just freed from those shackles. So I hope that this video made sense. I feel like I was a little bit all over the place, and I hope that it comes across in a helpful way, and that you know that it's like, I'm not trying to cast more judgment. I'm really just trying to share about my experiences. Also, beware of fucking people that like have spiritual ego and are like spiritual narcissists and use it to try to like have power over you. That is the grossest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. And I just stay far, far, far away from those people. People around you are supposed to build you up and love you and support you, especially, you know, spiritual people, and it's supposed to be a gentle, you know, kind thing. Okay, so if it feels any other kind of way, it's not for you. It's not for you, okay? And you don't have to earn this person's, you know, approval from anything outside of yourself. But anyways, you guys, my camera's gonna die in just a minute, so I'm gonna head out. But I love you so much. Thank you for watching. I hope that this made sense. Okay, bye!